lovely audience. This is actually a comedy-related injury. I slipped over on the way to see Mickey Flanagan last week. Yeah. So I think I should start being more careful at my age. I've just turned 42 and 159 months. And I think you're never too old to take up new hobbies. Do you remember during lockdown when people were taking up all sorts of new interests? Things like baking, speed walking, dogging. One of the things I decided to do was to write limericks about my family and friends. Would you like to hear one of my limericks?
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that. You won't have to listen to tenor lady chat for 5 minutes. So before I tell you my limerick, I need to give you a little bit of background. My friend Eric used to be part of the Cobham swingers scene. We're good friends, not that good. But we've known each other a long time, and he tends to overshare. So for a while, Eric was part of a throuple. I think it's called a throuple, with a married couple. And during this time, apparently, there were a lot of goings on in a hot tub. So this is what I wrote for my friend Eric. I once knew a man named Eric who, when the mood was atmospheric, would jump in the tub for a thrust and a rub. The sensation was quite sphincteric. So I don't know why I use phrases like goings on, one of my favourite shenanigans when I talk about sex, because I'm not embarrassed to talk about sex at all. I've had 2 children, and as they've been growing up, I like to think they've been able to talk to me about anything, ask me anything. Unfortunately myself, I've been through a bit of a dry spell for 15 years. So a while back, I thought in case they come to me and they ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I better do some research into what's new in the world of sex. And it turns out there's quite a bit. There's things like rimming, pegging, tribbing. I'm still not quite sure what's involved there, but apparently it's not to be attempted with an arthritic hip anyway. So I've never rimmed in the bedroom. I know not all sexual activity takes place in the bedroom. I've never tribbed in a caravan. I have a couple of times on holiday pegged in a tent. But I don't think that's what they mean. So I don't know if all these things are actually all new, if I just didn't know about them before. When I was growing up, we didn't have information about sex like we do today. We didn't have the internet, and we didn't have sex ed in schools. So I had to rely on my mum and my friends at an all-girls grammar school for my information. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of misinformation out there, especially from my mum. So one day my mum decided she'd try and explain masturbation to me. And what she told me was, it's mainly boys that do it. Because theirs is dangling there all the time, right in front of them. Whereas ours is nicely tucked away, and we tend to forget about it. She also told me, when you have sex, you get a nice feeling down there. She wasn't sure this was the new female orgasm everyone was talking about, because she suspected that was something made up to put in women's magazines. My poor mum. So my dad tried to help out with all this blessing, and he went and bought me this very informative, and even by 1970s standards, outdated book. It's called What's Happening to Me, and I would like to read you one of my favourite passages from this book. It says, young people often worry because they've heard that masturbation causes insanity, feeble-mindedness, pimples or other physical ailments. They point out that most young people get over the practice as they get older. However, indulging in masturbation is likely to cause guilty feelings that may be very disturbing. So they suggest that instead of indulging in masturbation, you try to fill your life with good friendships, good fun, and interesting and worthwhile activities, such as learning to play a musical instrument. And there's a very educational black and white photo here of a young man playing a clarinet while a young lady accompanies him on the piano. So I think this is quite good advice. I was quite the musician myself back in the day. I was in the school orchestra. Unfortunately, about 10 years ago, I had to give up playing the oboe due to feeble-mindedness. Thank you.